today's topic where I'm going to talk about how to easily sell yourself in your resume. And I love talking about this because I get this so much. I don't know how to sell myself in my resume. Maybe you're a sales professional, or maybe you know sales profession or marketing. You're like, I still don't know how to sell myself in my resume. I feel a little bit embarrassed about it. Don't even know where to get started. I haven't updated my resume in like 10, 20 years or so. I've been in this company for so long. Or every time I've received or gotten jobs in the past, it's been from referrals. So I've never had to apply. And now I find myself looking to write my resume and I don't even know where to get started. So these are all very common situations that I've heard from past people or job seekers that I've talked to. Especially if you got laid off and impacted. And just today we heard about I think around 11,000 employees getting laid off from Meta. Then there's Twitter and a few other organizations. You're probably finding yourself that you have to update your resume immediately because you just got impacted. Not only that, they are now there's even more competition out there. You're competing against your peers, people that you used to work alongside with, and now you both are going after the same job when a lot of people in other companies in this marketplace are also job searching as well. So I know how overwhelming it can be, how hard it is to write about yourself when it comes to especially a resume. And there's also rules around it. It's not like you're writing an essay, but instead you're writing a resume, a document that's used to sell yourself and be able to communicate your skill set. And sometimes you have to do that in a few pages when you have 15, 20, and sometimes 25 plus years of experience. So how do you consolidate that? So today I'm going to talk about, how to easily sell yourself in your resume, and I'm going to talk about the biggest mistakes I've seen job seekers make. But also I'm going to talk about what you can do to actually help you stand out and sell yourself, something that will actually make a difference. And I'm even going to share with you a special opportunity that I have because not all of us know what a winning resume looks like. I mean, some of us have never even seen like a really great resume that's captured the attention of companies like Google, Amazon, Apple, Disney, McKinsey. So we're always curious to see like what do resumes look like? Like those ones that get the attention from those big companies. Well, if you stay towards the end, I'll share with you where you can get access to them. But first, if you don't know me, my name is Claudia Miller, and I'm a career coach for women in tech. And I've helped my clients land fulfilling jobs within 90 days or less. And on average, my clients get a 56% in salary increases. So I've had clients get salary increases anywhere between 30 and even up to $140,000 in additional earned income. And because of my client success, I have been featured in Forbes, MSNBC, and Business Insider put me in the top global list of top innovative career coaches. So now that you know a little bit more about me, let's dive in and go back into our topic today, which is how to easily sell yourself in your resume. As I mentioned, first, I wanted to address the biggest common mistakes that I've seen job seekers make when it comes to writing their resume and helping them stand out from the competition. But what I wanted to do is kind of go through it. And you might find yourself that you may do some of the following. And I'm curious to know a little bit more about like if you've done this. Definitely, if you're watching this recording or watching this later, I definitely want you to comment to say like which one have you done or been guilty of. And trust me, before I learned how to write resumes, I was doing all of this. So there's no shame around that. And it's very common. That's why I want to mention these are the biggest common mistakes that I've seen, even from professionals that have 15, 20 years of experience that have hired and interviewed so many people. But yet, now that they're on the other side, they're like, I don't know. I just know what a good resume looks like, but I don't know how to rewrite that. I don't know how to do that for myself. So here is the first one. Resume is longer than 2 pages. Are you guilty of this? Is your resume longer than 2 pages? And one of the things that I hear is, especially for my clients, I work with women in tech, usually within manager, director, senior director level positions. And they're like, well, how can I put 15, 20 plus years of experience into 2 pages? I have so much that I need more than 2 pages. And some clients have come to me with 3 or 8 pages. And, humbly, I advise you that a resume is a document to give you a give the reader a quick snapshot of who you are and what you've done. And the goal of the resume is to get you the interview. It is not meant to be a book or a bibliography of your entire career experience or a book deal. It is to get you the interview. And I know how hard it is to put 15, 20 years of experience in 1 or 2 pages. So I'll give you some examples and some strategies you can use to do that because I understand and I know I work with a lot of ambitious, career driven women. I mean, women that have done amazing things in their career. And I get it, but I still want to be able to help you getting that interview because then you can get the job offer and then you can continue doing other great things. But that is the biggest resume. It's longer than 2 pages. I'm sorry. Honestly, I don't want you investing and spending so much time writing a resume that no one's going to read. We know and we've heard that on average, it takes anywhere between 6 to 8 seconds, or that's how long a recruiter spends time in your resume 6 to 8 seconds. They're not going to read your 4 or 5 page resume within those 6 to 8 seconds. So why should you invest all this time with pages of information they're not going to read? So it kind of alleviates to say, well, I don't even have to invest and do much work and talk about my entire history. Just whet the appetite, just enough to let them say, like, wow, I want to bring in Catherine for this interview. She sounds amazing. She's the candidate we're most excited to interview. And that's how you want to leave them. They can't know everything. They're going to have to interview to get how you did that, how you accomplished that, what were the results, and how it started from. And I see you, Catherine, here, grandma programmer here. I'm so glad you have joined. The second mistake that I've seen is that if you're a professional with at least 2 years of experience, you're putting your education and a little bit of your skills section at the top of your resume. That is prime real estate. The first top half of your resume, it is prime real estate. That's where you almost want to go in with a bang. If they were to read that and only that, is that strong enough to help you outbeat the competition? Will your resume stand out from everyone else? So you don't want to use that for education. I mean, if you have a master's degree, just put comma MBA or whatever that designation is. Usually the ATS system, if it's required, it will already scan through it and say, yes, this person does have a graduate or bachelor's degree or these specific certifications. So let's not use that space for that. The skills section, honestly, again, ATS system will go through it. If they're looking for these specific skills, the algorithm will look for those specific skills they're looking for. And if you have it, you'll get passed and a human being will actually get to see your resume. So do not use your prime real estate for education and skills. Instead, you want to write and almost connect the dots to the reader of why you're better than everyone else, especially from everyone else from the pile of resumes they currently have, and then why you're a good fit for the role. Now, I personally love to have summaries in a resume because it tells the reader, let's start here. And I like to put it in bullet point format. People are more likely to read data or information on a bullet point basis than a paragraph. Paragraph seems overwhelming. A bullet point seems like a very small commitment, and I can get the point across if I read this one bullet point. So that's what I like to use. And what you want to do is talk about a snapshot of your education or snapshot of what your experience is without going into depth of, how you started, what you went to your college for, what did you major in. And I'll give you an overview of what that looks like later, but I wanted to mention that that is a mistake I've seen. Do not put skills or education in the top half of your resume if you have more than 2 years of experience. Now, if you're a recent graduate and you're like, I don't have much experience except maybe internships, then yes, you want to use it at the top because usually they know if it's an entry-level position or an internship, that more likely you're not going to have experience. So they're just kind of scanning to see, oh, they just graduated. Oh, they had a really good GPA, or they were very involved, or these were their majors, or they built these skill sets while in school. But if you have more than 2 years experience, let's put that towards the end of the resume where we know they're not going to really read it. Now, the third biggest mistake I've seen is Canva. I love Canva, but I've seen some resumes in there that are beautiful. I mean, I'm like oozing over these resumes, but it doesn't work in practicality. So I know, especially for some of my clients that are in the marketing industry or like to be very creative and visual, and they create these beautiful pieces, and they tend to be on the very creative aesthetic side, that it kills them to know that they're creating a resume that's very text format. There's nothing creative about it. And I know it can kill you inside to say, oh my God, this is, how can I show my face with this? The way to go around it is include a link to your portfolio where you can showcase that experience you have, that aesthetic, that beautiful pieces you've created. But the resume is not the place to do that. And here's why. When you use templates, especially those beautiful templates where there's different columns, and instead they have like graphs and their pictures and all these graphics. Well, one, ATS computer systems cannot read pictures and graphics. So I know I've seen where they're like, it could be, let's just say project manager, it has a 4 out of 5 skills, data analytics, 3 out of 5 stars. Again, if it's a graphic or picture, ATS system does not pick that. It just picks that as a picture. It can't read it. It can't recognize it. So it just doesn't count it. And if you don't have those skills counted, then it lowers and decreases the chances of you getting that interview. So do not use any graphics. Also, when you have like 3 different columns, which I've seen, again, very beautiful resumes, but when you have 3 columns, it makes it hard for the reader to understand where they need to start. Do they start on the left side column and they read that first, and then the middle where the meat is, and then the 3rd column? And again, they're only spending 6 to 8 seconds on your resume. Do you want them spending time trying to figure out how to read your resume and where everything's located? Or would you rather almost guide the reader to say, start here, here's my summary. If you don't read anything else, this is enough to show you why I'm a great candidate for this role. Yes, that's what recruiters want. Make it easy for them to be able to provide you that interview connected dots to say, yes, this person's the perfect fit. I can already tell. All I had to do was read their summary, and I want to bring in for an interview. I have that interview slot taken. Now let me find and fill in the rest of them. Make the recruiter's life easier. Make it easy for them to understand why you're applying for the role, especially if you're looking to transfer industries or different types of roles. If you had a non-linear career trajectory, connect the dots for them. So that's going to be important. And a great example that I remember is we were looking to hire, when I worked in the healthcare setting, we were looking to hire a director that oversaw the specific modality, within the hospital itself. And one of the candidates actually submitted that they used to be a UPS driver 25 years ago. And they had like a 4 or 5 page resume. And I didn't hold it against this candidate. But again, I can't control all the other readers. But I was thinking, why is this relevant to the position? You're applying to a healthcare setting. You have years of experience within the industry itself. Why are you mentioning you were a UPS driver over 25 years ago? It has nothing to do with the role. I was just boggled by it. You don't want to raise more questions and red flags more than anything. So instead, just deliver and put information that's going to be enough to make them help a decision to say, this person has the background and I think they're a really great candidate for us to bring in for an interview. So that's what you want to do. Avoid those pretty beautiful Canva templates and instead go with the text formatting. I know it's not the most aesthetic pleasing, but it does get the results. And that's what you want. You want to get the results. You want to get the interview. That's the goal of it. Now, fourth, the biggest mistake that I've seen job seekers make in their resume is they have a long list of bullet points with tasks of work that they've done with no context. Do you have more than 5, 6 bullet points on that resume or that job? I've seen some where they'll send me their resume and there's like 12, 15 bullet points. And none of it actually delivers any context to let me know of why they're better than everyone else that I'm reviewing resumes. So that's what you want to avoid. Instead, you want to be able to provide more context, provide a story, let them understand the magnitude of the work that you've done. And I'll talk a little bit more on what that looks like and how you can do that. But that's the biggest mistake. Your resume should not be a laundry list of everything that you've done. It should be a list of top achievements and why, again, makes you better than everyone else. And that's the point of a resume. You're trying to outbeat the competition. And on average, data shows that there's about 250 applicants for every job posting. Now, I would say that this does not include the Googles, the Facebook, the Amazons, where everyone wants to work at, where it is even more competitive for those companies. These are just for other companies that are not as big, that are not sought after, 250 applicants, meaning you are competing with 249 other people. What's going to make you stand out from everyone else, and why should they give you the interview over these 249 other people? And granted, they can only interview 5 to 7 people at most. So keep that in mind. And lastly, the biggest mistake I've seen job seekers make is they don't submit a cover letter. I love and hate cover letters. Hate writing them. Honestly, even as a resume writer, I used to write them. It wasn't the thing that I enjoyed the most, primarily because I know most of the time they're not going to read it. And you're probably wondering, well, why should I spend time investing writing a cover letter when people are not going to read it? Well, for the most part, most people do not read it. Now, there are some people that I've talked to that they'll actually read the cover letter, and the cover letter is a really great place to talk about, why maybe you are pivoting industries, why your background experience is actually really good, and you have really great transferable skills for this job. Why you bring some Intel or industry knowledge, even though your background may seem like it doesn't bring value or doesn't look like it's aligned with a specific job or industry. Cover letters are the perfect place for that. Cover letters are also the perfect place to add keywords, maybe some things, keywords you just can't fit in your resume because you can only keep it to 1 or 2 pages. Maybe they had a long job description, which we've all seen it, and you're like, I just can't physically add any more keywords in this resume unless it'll start going to 2+ pages, and I don't want to go there either. So cover letters are the best places to add those keywords in there as well. But what I've heard from hiring managers and recruiters, for the most part, is that they assume that if an employee or candidate does not submit a cover letter, they're just not as interested in this role as versus candidates that did submit a cover letter. So it's all assumption based. Now, again, doesn't mean they're going to read it. And some are going to read it, some are not. Honestly, I don't like to leave anything to chance. I'm never going to know. They're not going to say, please submit a cover letter. I'm not going to read it, but I will hold it against you if you don't. They're not going to put that. And you never know who the reader is. It could be a sourcer. It could be someone starting their first HR role. It could be a seasoned professional. We don't know that. So I do not like leaving anything to chance. So if it's 50% chance that it's going to increase my likelihood of being seen as a candidate that's really interested, I'm going to submit a cover letter. Again, because I don't know who the reader is. So always submit a cover letter. Now think about it. Recruiters, on average, I was looking at something like they have anywhere between 20, 40, and some of them are looking to fill 70 jobs at once. And for every job posting, you get 250 applicants. That is a lot of resumes to go through. I know, like I said, I work with hiring managers, and they tell me, Claudia, when I was interviewed, I didn't even read their resumes, or I just skimmed through it right before the interview, or I just had them tell me about themselves, and I didn't even bother looking at the resume. It's the honest truth. Honestly, we're all human beings. There's no possible way that anyone can read 250 applicants and they're trying to fill 40 to 70 jobs in one, all at once. It's just too much. So in order to make things easier, they use process of elimination. Well, the ATS system kind of eliminates already a lot of resumes. And then usually recruiters will pull maybe about 20, 25 job or 20, 25 resumes, and they'll say, all right, this person did submit a cover letter. All right, now we're down to 10 resumes. Now, are these 10 resumes, who are the 5 people that are going to get the job interview? And then again, it's process of elimination. We all do this in different areas of our life. What restaurants where do we want to go eat today? I don't know. I just know that I don't want pizza. I don't want Italian. Someone else doesn't want this type of food. And then the only thing left are these 3 options. Let's pick out of those 3. Process of elimination, just make things easier. Recruiters do the same thing. So if we already know or can anticipate this, let's make sure that you're not part of that chopping block that gets pushed to the side. Include a resume and include a cover letter. Even if it says it's optional, I don't want to risk it. Let's submit that cover letter. Worst thing that can happen is they don't read it, but we're able to leverage it and to add keywords and tell a story on why we wanted to pivot to the industry, or why we're interested in this role overall, or why our background experience is a perfect fit for this role, based on your history. So those are the top 5 mistakes I've seen job seekers make when it comes to their resume. So remember, the goal of the resume is to get you the job interview, not a book offer, and it will never get you the job. I'm sorry to say it will never get you a job offer, but it's meant to get you a job interview. And for my marketing professionals, I once said this to a job seeker, and they're like, I never thought about it that way, but now it makes sense. Your resume is like a landing page. You're not going to tell the customer or the audience or the person you're trying to convey the information to. You're not telling them about the history, about the company and all the products and all the testimonials. You're just trying to get their email address or to take an action, and then you can deliver information little by little, or enough to get them what they want and what they need. So again, resume is just, the goal is to get you that interview. So here's what you do instead. In your resume, within it, include a summary. Like I said, I like to have a summary with 3 bullet points. Again, paragraphs, usually most people won't read it. Bullet points, they more likely will. And I like to make sure to include metrics and numbers. Resumes tend to be very text heavy. So in order to way to stand out and to have it make an impact is including numbers, because graphics and everything, that's just not going to do it. So for example, here's kind of like a template of like what I've written in the past for clients that has been very successful, and what an overview of a snapshot looks like. And I'm making this on the fly. So I am a project management leader with 10 plus years of experience with a background in data management, artificial intelligence, and management for various industries, including finance, education, and tech, for companies with over $500 million in annual revenue. Okay, the reader already knows project management leader, so now they see me as a leader. I may be doing other jobs and not had a PMP certification, but I've managed projects and I've been in a manager position. So project management leader, told them I already have 10, 15 years of experience. Here are the top 3 skills. Ideally, you want to do the top 3 skills that are hardest to hire for. And I just made this up. Data background in management, meaning I've overseen people, data analytics, and then maybe artificial intelligence. Maybe I'm going to a company that does AI and I have some experience in that. For different industries like finance, tech, and healthcare, and for companies with up to, that's where the number comes in, $500 million in annual revenue. And if you're like, well, Claudia, I don't know how much my company makes, just look up your company and look up annual revenue. Google's annual revenue, Amazon's annual revenue, your company annual revenue. If it's a smaller company, they might still be able to have some websites that tell you an overview. Or you can always say, like, if you're more of an engineer and you're like, well, I know that over 100 million people use this platform that I'm an engineer for. You can say for companies that service over 100 million customers annually. Again, there's the metrics portion. People are naturally going to read and they're going to gravitate towards the 100 million. And they're going to say, 100 million, where's this coming from? So now they're forced to read the bullet point from the beginning to understand and decipher where the $100 million come from. While they're reading, you're connecting to that on why you're the perfect fit for this role. So again, they don't have to read your entire resume. That bullet point alone just told them so much. So that's how you want to take advantage of that summary portion for them, connect the dots for them, give them a quick snapshot of your career, and it should be enough to entice them to either keep reading or just say, I'm going to bring them in for an interview. That's all I needed to read. Now, the second thing that I highly recommend to do in your resume is only include jobs that are relevant to the position and stick to 1 or 2 pages. Usually the rule of thumb is if you have less than 10 years of experience, stick to 1 page. If you have more than 10 years experience, stick to 2 pages max. Now, there are some technical jobs that are a little bit, that will take up more space, where they like to know every system and tools that you've used in this specific project or in this specific role, especially if you're a data scientist or an engineer around those, then it even if you have 3, 4 years of experience, it might take you 2 pages, and that's okay. Don't go over the 2 pages. Um, and you want to include those relevant jobs. Sometimes instead of putting work history or work experience, just put relevant work experience. And now the reader knows this does include everything, but that's relevant to the position you're applying for. So that's another way to do that. Again, like I mentioned, that position where I was like, why is this person talking about their job or their internship from 25 years ago when now they're applying to a director position? It does, I don't even care at this point. I just want to know about your experience as a leader, a manager, directing it. I don't care like what systems you used 20, 25 years ago when you were an intern, and probably those tools or systems don't even exist anymore. Again, the role or the goal of the resume is to get you that job interview. That's it. Give them enough to bring you in for that interview. And next thing is will be focus on your top achievements and answer the question, so what? So when you're writing your resume, and one of the most recent resumes I've seen is they put manages a team of 20 engineers. That was a bullet point. Overseas personnel, and then a budget, overseas personnel and operating budget. And then there was like very surface level skills and tasks. And you got to remember, your competition is probably doing the same thing. If you're applying for a director job, more than likely you're competing with other directors who have already done a director job, who have experience, who have also managed people, who have also managed an operating budget, who have also done strategy. But why are you better than all these other candidates? And you're like, well, I don't know, Claudia. Maybe I'm not better than them. You don't have to be the best. You just have to sell yourself the best. So, how do you sell yourself? It's giving them metrics and asking, so what? So, you manage a team of 20 engineers. So what? Manages a team of 20 engineers over North America, or it could be domestically and internationally, for an application that services or has over 200,000 users on a monthly basis. Okay, now I'm a little bit interested. Domestically and internationally, you have that many users. Oh, now I know it's an application system. Okay, tell me more. So you see how that's better than manages a team of 20 engineers? Well, now we know domestically, internationally, overseas 200,000 users. And I know that's probably not much for some, but let's just say 2 million users on a monthly basis. And on average, these customers spend or on a monthly basis or general, you sometimes you can ask the sales team like, what is the lifetime value of each customer? Services over 2 million customers on a monthly basis, which bring in a lifetime value of over 300,000. Now the reader knows these are high quality customers. You want to make sure they're happy because they're worth 300,000. The lifetime value of this company. Over 2 million people use the application system, and you're doing it with 20 years domestically and internationally. Now I'm thinking, how are you doing this? And what are some things that you can bring into my company that can help me do things better? You might have better processes or systems, or maybe it takes us a bigger team, or we're looking to expand to that level. Maybe right now we only have 1 million users, but now we can bring you in to help us create a process and a system and a department that can withstand and hold 2 million users, and you can be the one to help us get there. You see how different it is? So a quick audit on your resume is go through and say, so what? And you're going to say, oh, yeah. Or another way to see if you have a good resume is give it to someone that's not part of your industry. Have them read it. What you're looking for is this. Have the eyebrows raised. They're like, oh, wow. If you're not getting that, they're probably like, I don't even know what they're reading. I don't even know what they're writing. This is too jargon heavy. It has too many industry specific keywords. I don't even understand what I'm reading at this point. My eyes are getting glazed. And a third way to audit your resume is for every 10 jobs you're applying, you should be getting anywhere between 2 to 3 interviews. If you're not, your resume is not performing at the way that it should. That is it. I don't need to see your resume. If you tell me you've applied to 200 jobs and you had 10 interviews, I'm going to tell you, don't need to see your resume. I just know that it's not performing the way it should. I expect around a 20-30% conversion, and you're not even getting close to that. So we need to go back and address your resume. Now, I mentioned that I was going to give you an overview overview. A lot of us don't know what a great resume looks like. I discussed like the 5 biggest mistakes people make or job seekers make in their resume. And I talked about the 3 top skills you need to be making in your resume to help you sell yourself overall and not beat the competition. Now, still, I know resume writing is hard. Some of us don't even know what a winning resume looks like. What do those resumes look like that get the attention of companies like Google, Amazon, Disney, and so on? Well, I've created a product called Proven Winning Resumes, and this is all the resumes that have been proven to be successful and have landed my clients interviews at companies like McKinsey, Apple, Disney, Google, Meta, Facebook, and so on and so forth. Now, I know you may not be interested in, maybe some of you are not interested in applying to those companies, especially because some of them already did a lot of layoffs and you want to stay clear. But the reason I mentioned that is because overall, these companies are very sought after and they're very competitive. I've had some recruiters tell me like they get around, usually within a week's time frame, they only leave it open. Think Google and probably Facebook's. They get around 12 to 1400 applicants just for one job posting in less than a week. 12 to 1400, meaning that's how many people you're competing against with. And if the resumes I just talked about can get interviews at those companies, at highly sought after, very competitive companies, it can get you interviews anywhere else. So for $27, you get access to ready to edit resume templates that have already been proven to be successful. And you know and can see exactly what a great winning resume looks like for $27. I wanted to make this very easily accessible. I wanted for people to know what a great resume looks like, and then you can edit and plug in your personal information and make it your own. So don't have to start with a blank canvas. You don't have to start with a blank page and try to figure out, the formatting of a resume. What does it look like? Should you include this or that? Instead, you already get access to proven winning resumes. And then also there's the option that if you wanted to include a cover letter and want to know best practices of writing a good cover letter in case they do read it, or you want to maximize that to include your keywords, you can include that as well. And if you upgrade, you also can get access to how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, because it does work like an SEO and LinkedIn does have like an ATS system embedded into it. So you want to make sure that you beef up that LinkedIn profile, since I think the stat is around 72% of recruiters will look at your LinkedIn profile to decide whether they want to bring you in for an interview or not. It's going to be important for you to have a really well-performing LinkedIn profile that is optimized. And even if you're employed and you're like, well, I don't want my network to know that I'm job searching, they're not going to know. I've even included in the training, hey, if you don't want your network to know, don't do this, but instead do this, to make it really easy for you to implement, optimize that LinkedIn profile. And honestly, I want LinkedIn profiles to start working for you. When you become searchable, recruiters can find you. If they can find you, they can reach out to you for interviews and job opportunities. So again, you're multiplying the opportunities you have out there. Not only will you be applying to jobs, but now LinkedIn is working for you and starting to bring in and generate these additional interviews, which can really accelerate your job search overall. So those are like everything that's included. Like I said, I try to make this very easily accessible, especially with what's been happening in the marketplace. I wanted to provide you all with really great resumes. I don't do resume writing. I will say that off the bat. Now, for my clients that are part of my career coaching program, 90-day job offer, I do give them feedback on their resume, and we create that together. And then we've 2 to 3 iterations. We've generated and created a very high performing resume, but I still don't write them for you. I don't do that anymore. So if you're interested, just text me at 919-822-8297 with PWR, Proven Winning Resumes. I'll send you the link so that way you can go in and read more information about it. Like I said, it's $27. I wanted to make this easily accessible, especially with everything going on in the marketplace. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to message me or connect with me and let me know what you found most insightful and useful based on this. Like I said, I am so sorry to hear about all these layoffs happening. And I feel it's like every single day there's a new company doing it. And I kind of want to provide some hope to some job seekers out there that there are companies that are doing layoffs. There are companies that are doing hiring freezes. but there's companies that are hiring and they thrive during a recession. A lot of these companies, not every company is meant to thrive during recessions. It's just it's just not possible, especially if you're in travel or leisure. They don't thrive during the recessions, but there are other industries that thrive during a recession. And my advice to you is recession proof industries. They're going to be thriving, they're going to be growing, they're going to be able to pay you, and they're going to be able to promote you if they continue seeing this growth. So focus on those companies, ignore what's happening in the media, and focus on what you can do to help you get ahead in your career and help you land that job faster. And if you need help with your resume, check out Proven Winning Resumes, where it can help you do that and help you get a head start on getting started in your resume. I hope this was helpful. Take care.